So, how does technology make resource planning possible? Well, it's a heck of a lot better than trying to keep track of it by paper, pen and paper. But let's go back to roughly 1964 with Black and Decker. They were one of the first companies to adopt an MRP system. So they used it for basic time phase replenishment calculations. So they would, every so often, the system would say, hey, based on your tack time, you should be replenishing this right now. And in 1964, that was huge. But then 1975, we have about 700 companies that have adopted MRP. Now, this is let's just assume this is the United States. And then in 1981, over 8,000 companies have adopted MRP. And then in 1983, MRP evolves into the manufacturing resource planning system. So we have our capacity requirements planning and our sales and operations planning. So we have our S&OP. That should be familiar from a previous topic. So we are looking at more things other than just manufacturing. We're looking at much, much more. And in 2000s, so MRP integrated into the enterprise resource planning system. So now MRP is essentially evolved into the ERP, enterprise resource planning. And about 80% of manufacturers use MRP systems. I would go and say that probably over 95% of manufacturers use MRP systems today. They're just so valuable that if a company is not using one, they are severely hindering their abilities. So think about that. Now, we've talked about what an MRP can do, but imagine having to do all that work manually or by hand. When a computer system can just, you put in all the details, it might take you 10 minutes to do all that, depending on how complicated it is. And then the system can tell you in a matter of seconds or maybe a minute, depending on how complicated, here's a list of what you need. And here's how to do it. Where before it might have taken a week for planners to design and plan all this out. It's just amazing. So since we're talking about ERPs, we need to understand better what an ERP is. So we've already mentioned ERPs in a previous topic, but it's all the systems of a company essentially coming together. So we have our human resources management, our financial management, manufacturing management, cost and planning, or cost planning and control, customer relationship management, business analytics and intelligence, supplier relationship management, e-commerce. All of these are incorporated into ERP. So an example of an ERP would be a software package called SAP. It was created by a German company, and you can buy through there or lease or get annual contracts or lease agreements or whatever they call it for each module you want to put it into an ERP. For example, if you don't need e-commerce, you don't need to pay for that. If you don't need business analytics and intelligence, you don't need to pay for that. If you need something else, because this is just 8 out of probably 100 different areas that can go into an ERP, they'll figure it out or make one for you. So an ERP is an amazing piece of software that can be used. And even the university uses an ERP. You can think of nonprofits using ERPs. So it's not just limited to for-profit companies. So I hope you understand the value that an ERP or enterprise resource planning software system can do. But we need to talk more about the master production schedule, because you need to understand how it's created to better understand if there's an error, how to fix the error. So let's go ahead and talk about that in the next video.